Loose Women's Ruth Langsford opens up about her separation from Eamonn Holmes. Ruth Langsford spoke about her split from Eamonn Holmes on Tuesday's episode of Loose Women as Tommy Fury joined the panel to promote his new book. Ruth Langsford candidly discussed her own split from Eamonn Holmes on a recent episode of Loose Women, following the announcement that they had ended their 14-year marriage. During the ITV daytime program on Tuesday, November 12, Ruth Langsford, alongside panelists Linda Robson, Katie Piper, and Nadia Sawalha, welcomed former Love Island participant Tommy Fury. He shared insights about his breakup with Molly May Hague and promoted his new book titled Lightning Can Strike Twice, which reveals details of their 5-year relationship. The book's publication was postponed to include a final chapter about their separation. In her chat with Tommy, Ruth empathized the public nature of such breakups, as she herself has experienced with Eamonn. She addressed Tommy, saying, "Nobody could have missed that you and Molly May had sadly broken up. We're all very sad to read that. We all followed this wonderful love story on Love Island," reports The Mirror. "You have written about it in your book because they delayed the publication of the book for you to write the last chapter." Expressing mutual understanding, Ruth added, "You said you don't want to go into detail about it, but how are the two of you doing? And you're obviously co-parenting Bambi. It's a tricky time, as I know, going through all of these things in public, and everyone has got something to say, without knowing the truth. I don't listen to anything in the press or social media, because that's one story apart from the real story. Like I said, moving forward now everyone is entitled to a private life. Me and Molly got together when we were very young, and we just think going forward everything should be private now. That's not only what I want for me, but for Bambi, for her sake." Eamonn and Ruth, who tied the knot in 2010 and have a son Jack born in 2002, have recently announced that they plan to divorce, releasing a statement on May 25, 2024. Ruth Langsford, the beloved presenter of Loose Women, has opened up about her separation from her longtime husband and fellow television personality, Eamonn Holmes. In a candid interview, the 64-year-old TV star shared her personal reflections on the end of her 13-year marriage and how she's been navigating the challenging period of their separation. The couple, who were one of the most well-known pairs in British television, announced in January 2024 that they had parted ways. Despite their friendly public demeanor, the split has been a deeply emotional experience for Langsford, who has spent years balancing her career, her role as a mother, and her personal life in the limelight. A difficult decision. Speaking on Loose Women earlier this week, Ruth shared the emotional toll the decision to separate took on her. "It wasn't something I ever expected to happen," Langsford admitted. "Eamonn and I had been together for such a long time, and we've been through so much together. But as with any relationship, sometimes things change." Ruth emphasized that the decision to part ways was mutual, despite the inherent sadness. "There's no blame, no ill feelings. We both have a great deal of respect for each other and will always care for each other. But we've realized we're on different paths now." The couple, who first met in the late 1990s and married in 2010, shared 2 decades of professional and personal partnership. They famously hosted This Morning together for years, where their chemistry and easygoing humor endeared them to viewers. Reflecting on the relationship, during the interview, Langsford took a moment to reflect on her marriage to Holmes. "When you spend so many years with someone, it becomes hard to imagine life without them," she said. "We've built a life together, and that's never easy to walk away from. But sometimes you have to be honest with yourself, and that was the case here." Ruth also acknowledged the public's reaction to the separation, revealing that while she has received immense support from fans, it hasn't been without its challenges. "When you're in the public eye, everything gets amplified," she explained. "There are lots of assumptions made, and people feel they know you personally. But at the end of the day, only Eamonn and I know the full story of what happened." Despite the challenges, Ruth emphasized the importance of maintaining a healthy relationship with Eamonn as they both navigate the next chapter of their lives. "We'll always be there for each other," she said. "We share so much history together, and that doesn't disappear overnight." A new chapter. Langsford also spoke about her plans for the future and how she's focusing on her career, personal growth, and spending time with her family. "I've always been someone who believes in moving forward," she shared. "Life doesn't stop just because things change. You have to find new ways of doing things and embracing the future." Ruth's comments about looking ahead were coupled with her enthusiasm for upcoming professional projects. As one of the leading stars of Loose Women, Langsford continues to be a vital part of the show, and her recent interviews have revealed a woman who is ready to take on new challenges. I'm very much focused on the present and the future, she said. I've got my own path to walk now, and I'm excited about what's to come. Her comments also hinted at a renewed focus on her health and well-being. Ruth has been an advocate for self-care and mental health, often speaking openly about the importance of looking after yourself, both physically and emotionally. I'm focusing on taking care of me, being healthy, and doing what makes me happy, she said. Support from fans. In the wake of the announcement of the split, Langsford has been showered with messages of support from fans, colleagues, and friends. Many have praised her openness and strength in handling the separation with dignity. It's been heartwarming to hear from so many people who understand and support me, Ruth said. I'm incredibly grateful for that. Eamonn Holmes, who has also spoken publicly about the separation, echoed Ruth's sentiment, adding that their friendship and mutual respect will remain despite the end of their marriage. We are still friends, and we will continue to be, he shared in a statement following the announcement. Our priority now is to ensure that we both move forward in a positive way. Moving forward, as Ruth Langsford navigates this new chapter in her life, her resilience and professionalism continue to shine. With a renewed focus on her career and well-being, Ruth is determined to embrace what comes next with strength and optimism. Fans will no doubt be following her journey closely as she continues to be an important figure in British television and an inspiration to many. Ruth Langsford issues. Tricky. Update on Eamonn Holmes split 6 months after breakup. Ruth spoke out on Tuesday's ITV show as she, Linda Robson, Katie Piper and Nadia Sawalha were joined by former Love Island star Tommy Fury. Bookmark. Ruth Langsford has opened up about her split from Eamonn Holmes on ITV Loose Women, 6 months on from their split. Ruth spoke out on Tuesday's ITV show as she, Linda Robson, Katie Piper and Nadia Sawalha were joined by former Love Island star Tommy Fury. During the interview, 25-year-old Love Island runner-up spoke about his recent separation from Molly May Hague. Ruth said to Tommy during the interview, "Nobody could have missed that you and Molly May had sadly broken up. We're all very sad to read that. We all followed this wonderful love story on Love Island." Ruth said, "You have written about it in your book because they delayed the publication of the book for you to write the last chapter." She added, "You said you don't want to go into detail about it, but how are the two of you doing? And you're obviously co-parenting Bambi. It's a tricky time as I know, going through all of these things in public, and everyone has got something to say, without knowing the truth." "They really do, that's been the overall thing of the past few months," Tommy replied. "I don't listen to anything in the press or social media, because that's one story apart from the real story. Like I said, moving forward now everyone is entitled to a private life. Me and Molly got together when we were very young, and we just think going forward everything should be private now. That's not only what I want for me, but for Bambi, for her sake." Tommy reportedly cheated on influencer and businesswoman Molly May Hague, who is also 25, a number of times, while she was sitting at home, holding the baby. But he has vehemently denied the claims. Tommy has stressed his desire to keep his current relationship with his influencer ex private. London, November 2024. Ruth Langsford has opened up about her life 6 months after her separation from Eamonn Holmes, revealing that while she is in a better place, emotionally, the aftermath of the split has been challenging and continues to have its tricky moments. The pair, once one of British television's most beloved couples, announced in early 2024 that they had ended their marriage of 13 years, and now, Ruth has shared more about how she's adjusting to the new phase of her life. In a candid interview with The Times, Langsford reflected on the journey that led to her decision to separate from her longtime husband and how she has been coping in the months since. The couple, who were known for their charming and easygoing partnership on This Morning, had shared a public persona that made their breakup all the more shocking to fans, and Ruth has admitted that it has not been an easy road. "It's been a roller coaster." 6 months after the split, Ruth explained that while she is working through the transition, there are still moments when the reality of the change hits her hard. "I think it's easy for people to assume that once you make a decision, it's all plain sailing," she said. "But that's just not true. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and there are times when you feel like you're doing okay, and other times when it's more difficult. That's the reality of it." Langsford admitted that the first few weeks after the separation were particularly difficult. "The early days were tough, like a bad dream you can't wake up from," she confessed. "You go through so many emotions, sadness, guilt, confusion, and even relief. But ultimately, you have to keep going, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that." However, despite the challenges, Ruth has also found strength in the support of her family and friends. She spoke candidly about how close-knit relationships with her loved ones have helped her navigate the emotional fallout. "I've had incredible support from my family, and that's really been a lifeline for me. I'm incredibly grateful to them," Ruth explained. "And of course, I've had lots of kind messages from viewers, which means the world." Reassessing the relationship. Ruth and Eamonn's breakup stunned fans, especially given the couple's strong on-screen chemistry and frequent displays of affection during their years together on television. The pair, who began dating in 1999, married in 2010, and worked together on This Morning for over a decade, always appeared to be the picture of harmony. However, in the months leading up to their split, it became clear that there were underlying tensions, with reports of their relationship undergoing increasing strain. In her interview, Ruth reflected on the dynamics of the relationship in the years leading up to the separation, acknowledging that while the decision was mutual, it wasn't made lightly. "There's no blame," she said. "We both just grew apart. It's hard to explain, but sometimes relationships change, and it wasn't working anymore. It's a painful thing to admit, but sometimes you have to recognize when it's time to move on." She also addressed the issue of public perception, explaining that people often assume they know what's going on in someone else's life based on what they see on television. "The public might have thought everything was fine because we were always joking around on screen, but that wasn't the case. We're all human, and just because two people are in a relationship doesn't mean it's always perfect behind closed doors," she said. The impact of public scrutiny. While Ruth and Eamonn's split was made public in January 2024, the couple had been facing private challenges for some time before the announcement. Ruth admitted that navigating such a highly public breakup has had its difficulties. "Being in the public eye makes everything harder. People feel like they have a right to know every detail of your life," she said. "There's a lot of speculation, a lot of assumptions, and it's been a lot to manage emotionally. But at the end of the day, I have to protect my mental health and my well-being." Despite this, Ruth remained adamant that she would continue to be open and honest with her fans. "I believe in being transparent when it's appropriate. But there's also a line that needs to be drawn for your own privacy and sanity," she explained. "I want people to know I'm doing okay, but I'm not going to share every detail. That's just how it has to be." Co-parenting and moving forward. Ruth also spoke about the impact of the separation on their son, Jack, who is 21 years old. While Jack is now an adult, Langsford acknowledged that the separation still affects him in different ways. "It's always tough when your parents split up, no matter how old you are," Ruth said. "But Jack has been incredibly supportive, and we're all adjusting. He's a grown-up now, but he still needs his parents to be there for him in different ways, and that's what we've both made sure to do." Looking forward, Ruth is optimistic about her future and has expressed a desire to take more time for herself. "I think in many ways, this has given me a chance to re-evaluate what I want from life," she said. "I'm focusing more on myself right now, on my career, my health, and just finding what makes me happy. I'm not in any rush to jump into anything new. It's a time for healing and growing." She also revealed that while her professional life remains busy, with ongoing commitments to Loose Women and other television projects, she is enjoying the opportunity to focus on personal interests that had previously taken a back seat. "I've always loved gardening, reading, and spending time with friends. These little things, they add so much to my life now," she explained. "I've been taking better care of myself, physically and mentally, and that's been really important to me." Eamonn Holmes' response. Eamonn Holmes, who has also spoken about the breakup publicly, issued a statement when the couple's separation was first announced. He echoed Ruth's sentiments, expressing that while the separation was difficult, they remained friends and would continue to co-parent with mutual respect. "We've been through a lot together, and while we've decided to go our separate ways, Ruth will always have a special place in my heart," Holmes said. Despite the public nature of their relationship, Eamonn has also emphasized the importance of privacy and not oversharing in the wake of the split. Like Ruth, he has spoken about the importance of personal growth and moving forward. "Life changes, and you have to change with it," he said during a recent interview on GB News. "Ruth and I are fine, and we're both focusing on what makes us happy." The future for Ruth Langsford. As Ruth Langsford reflects on the past 6 months, she is adamant about staying positive and moving forward. The presenter, known for her witty and no-nonsense persona on Loose Women, is determined to embrace the next chapter of her life with optimism. I've learned a lot in these past few months, and I'm in a much stronger place now than I was earlier this year, she said. Ruth's openness about her experiences has resonated with many of her fans, who have praised her for her honesty and resilience. It's not easy to go through something like this in the public eye, but I'm doing it with my head held high, Ruth said. I'm excited for the future and all the opportunities it brings. As for the prospect of romance, Ruth made it clear that she's not actively seeking a new relationship at this time. I'm not closing myself off to anything, but right now, I'm focused on myself, she said. Who knows what the future holds? But for now, I'm just going to enjoy life as it comes. Conclusion. 6 months after her separation from Eamonn Holmes, Ruth Langsford is slowly but surely adjusting to a new chapter of her life. While the journey has been challenging at times, she is determined to face the future with strength, positivity, and a renewed focus on her personal well-being. Fans of the television personality continue to offer their support as she navigates this period of change, and Langsford remains a figure of resilience, both on and off the screen. As Ruth continues to take steps forward, one thing is certain: she's ready for whatever the next chapter holds.